In our lead stories nationally, Scotiabank sale approved by the ECCB, Republic Financial Holdings will acquire assets of Scotiabank in St. Kitts and Nevis and other Eastern Caribbean islands, and Nevlec's new general manager says performance may have deteriorated and outlines objective for company. Regionally, Hurricane Dorian triggers massive insurance payout for the Bahamas. Internationally, Robert Mugabe's family rejects government's funeral plans. And in sports, Barbados Tridents beat SKN Patriots by 18 runs in CPL tournament. We'll have the details of these and other stories after this message.
Another look.
Different from how you've seen it before.
Another look.
Takes an in-depth look into business, politics, science, technology, religion, and more.
Another look.
Featuring documentaries from the BBC, regional features, and local ones too.
Another look.
Every Monday at 3 p.m. on the Eastern Caribbean's powerhouse, Vaughan.
Welcome back and now on to the national news in detail. The Eastern Caribbean Central Bank ECCB has approved Republic Financial Holding Limited RFHL acquiring the assets of the Bank of Nova Scotia on September 7th following consultations with the Monetary Council and the Central Bank of Trinidad and Tobago CBTT, RFHL's home regulator. The proposal made by Republic Financial Holdings, parent company of Republic Bank, was a $123 million buyout of all Scotiabank branches in 9 territories, including the Eastern Caribbean. Assessments made by the ECCB before the approval of the proposed transaction include 1. The RFHL's Strategic Plan 2018-2020, 2. The financial condition of RHL to support the operations of the acquired banking business of BNS as well as of RFHL subsidiaries, 3. The implications for the stability of the ECCU banking system and the technical human resource capacity of RFHL to effectively govern its subsidiaries across multiple jurisdictions. Other islands approved were Anguilla, the Commonwealth of Dominica, Grenada, St. Lucia, and St. Vincent and the Grenadines. In spite of the company's degeneration over the last few years, the recently appointed general manager of the Nevis Electricity Company Limited, Nevlec, Mr. Gilroy Pulte, has disclosed his plans for the company in just over a week in the position. When asked by the VOA Newsline if he is basically here to help the company in its improvement, this was the general manager's response.
For any company, there's always room for improvement, and so I prefer to say that I'm here to help improve the company. I believe that the company's performance may have deteriorated to some extent in the last few years. I believe a lot of work has gone into the company, and based on Mr. Truss's, the chairman's own comments, it suggests that there's a need to try and get us back to where we were and to progress from there. So it's a combination of trying to address perhaps some of the areas where our performance may have dropped, but generally to improve the company as a whole and the country.
He also mentioned one of the goals he plans to achieve.
One of the things that I have noted is that there is not enough flexibility in the distribution grid. So I would like to see us get to the point where it is possible that you can feed around the country in one direction. So for example, if something happens at Cotton Ground, we should be able to feed north of Cotton Ground all the way through Gingerland coming around the country. If we can do that, and we will be able to do it with time, you would be able to minimize the size of area that is out when you need to take plant outages.
Mr. Pulte spoke of his tenure as general manager.
I actually have been seconded from my company. It was a long process for me to be able to come across. I saw the opportunity as being a good opportunity for me, and I had to negotiate long and hard to get a secondment from my company. So my company has actually seconded me for a period of between 1 to 2 years. So I think I would prefer to be around for 2 years, because a year is short, but it definitely I don't think will go beyond 2 years.
General Manager of Nevlec, Mr. Gilroy Pulte. Mr. Pulte is an electrical engineer who holds a master's degree in business administration and finance and has worked with St. Lucia Electricity Services Limited Lucelec between 26 and 29 years. He held a senior management position for 15 years. The construction of the Gingerland Cultural Center will be ready to stage the 2019 Gingerama Festival. The facilities and project management that's actually and Culturama Secretariat, Mr. Antonia Abernathy Liebert, which is the Executive Director of the Secretariat. Accompanied by the Minister of Culture and Community Development, the Honorable Eric Evelyn, Mr. Liebert visited the site on September 10th to give an update on the progress made on the inside of the main building of the complex. Mr. Liebert explained that the main building, which includes the staging area, will be outfitted with 2 dressing rooms and washroom facilities, an information technology room which will serve as the hub for the closed-circuit television program when it is implemented, a room from which the on-stage lighting will be controlled, and the staging and performance areas. The facility will also be air-conditioned. Also being constructed are 8 vendor booths, a perimeter wall around the facility, and the new parking lot. And the project manager also said that new work teams are being recruited to meet the target deadline in November. Minister Evelyn, constituency representative for Gingerland area, stated that the complex will be a facility for many other cultural activities, educational activities, and religious activities. He emphasized that the facility is for all the people of Nevis. Local cleaning services are working to ensure the entire compound of the Keon High School CHS in St. Kitts is safe before teachers and students are allowed to return to the facility. The 4 companies are Clean White Cleaning Services, Reality Pest Control, Like New Steam Cleaners, and Post Surface Cleaning Services. The work being done was also extended to the fences of the school's property. The cleaning services were contracted by the Ministry of Education in St. Kitts to undertake remedial work at the school. On Tuesday, September 10th, government ministers including Prime Minister Dr. the Honorable Timothy Harris, the Honorable Ian Patches Liebert, Parliamentary Representative for Constituency Number 8, the Honorable Eugene Hamilton, and Attorney General, the Honorable Vincent Byron Jr., toured the facility where they saw firsthand the work being carried out. Because of work being carried out at the school, the reopening of the Keon High School for the 2019-2020 academic school year has been delayed. Strengthening key healthy settings. That's the theme for this year's Caribbean Wellness Week, which will commence on Friday, September 13th with Sneaker Day. The slogan is Building Healthy Schools. The aim of the observance is to create awareness of non-communicable diseases or NCDs. Senior Health Educator at the Health Promotion Unit here in Nevis is Ms. Chevron Nisbet.
Sneaker Day is a day, this is a day where we want people to realize it's time to get moving. So we want you to wear your sneakers, which are comfortable shoes, and we're hoping by the time you put on your sneakers, you'll say, man, I could do an extra 100 steps today, right? So for Sneaker Day, we want individuals to put on their sneakers, take a picture of yourself in your sneakers, and post it to our Nevis Health Promotion Facebook page. And when you post it to the page, you hashtag Sneaker Day 2019. Also on that day, we're going to have a healthy snack station at our office, the Health Promotion Unit office on Jew Street.
Ms. Chevrolet Nisbet. Meantime, the Development Bank of St. Kitts and Nevis branch has sponsored the Caribbean Wellness Day activity, which will be put on by the Health Promotion Unit here on Nevis, which is observed annually on the 2nd Saturday in the month of September, and this year the date is Saturday, September 14th. Caribbean Wellness Day is a day that is celebrated by the Caribbean Public Health Agency, CARPHA, to create awareness of non-communicable diseases, NCDs, such as diabetes and hypertension. The theme for this year's celebration is Healthy Aging Starts Now. Caribbean Wellness Day began in 2008, and Nevis has been on board since its inception. And lastly, in our national news segment, the 2019 St. Thomas's Parish Festival Estiti Fest commences from today, Thursday, September 12th, and ends on Thursday, September 19th, 2019. The opening of the festival will be held at the Jessops Community Center. Activities include a lift-off distress dance, fun day, Mr. Physique show and fashion show, etc. The festival is put on by the St. Thomas's Festival Committee. This year's slogan is Keeping the Vibes Live and Supreme, STT Fest 2019, and it was penned by Miss Crystal Clark. And that's the national news segment. You can visit our website at www.vonradio.com, or you can check us out on Facebook at Von Radio or our Von Radio YouTube channel for these and other stories. News from across the region is next.
Life can be more fulfilling when we take the time out to smell the roses. And that's why your friends and family at the Bank of Nevis are experts at picking the flowers that best describe you. Whether you're planning to treat yourself after a long work week or finally getting around to that closet update, you deserve all the special things that life has to offer. And the Bond Visa card is here to help you achieve it. With just a swipe, you can turn a last-minute lunch date with friends and family into something worth remembering, with memories that will last a lifetime. Pampering yourself just got a whole lot easier. And after all, you deserve every refreshing moment of it. The ability to make your travel arrangements at your own convenience, whether by sea or by air, now rests within the palm of your hand. With a single swipe, the Bond Visa card can put a world of difference between life and truly living. Whereas the only limits you may have is your own imagination. Apply today. The Bank of Nevis Limited, improving the quality of life.
Welcome back, and now on to the regional news. The Bahamas will receive almost US $11 million from the region's Catastrophe Risk Insurance Fund following the passage of Hurricane Dorian that caused widespread devastation in the northern part of the 700-island archipelago. CCRIF says the government will receive $10,936,103. The Bahamas has 3 tropical cyclone policies with CCRIF, each one covering a section or zone of the archipelago: northwest, southeast, and central. It is a tropical cyclone policy for the northwest zone, which includes the Abaco Islands and Grand Bahama, that was triggered. Dorian made landfall in the north of the archipelago, the Abaco Islands, on September 1st and battered Grand Bahama for 2 days. CCRIF's payouts are made within 14 days of an event, but in this case, CCRIF made an advanced payment on Tuesday, September 10th of 50% of the payout to allow the government to begin to address its most pressing needs, with the remaining 50% to be paid within the 14-day window for all CCRIF payouts. CCRIF CEO Isaac Anthony contacted the government of the Bahamas to inform of the payout and to express the facility's own and for many lives rather, they actually expressed their condolences to the many lives lost and pledged support to the government as it seeks to recover and rebuild not just infrastructure but also lives, Caribbean 360 says. A Bahamas Air aircraft carrying regional government officials, including St. Lucia's Prime Minister and CARICOM Chairman Alan Chastney, had to make a sudden drop in altitude while en route to Abaco to avoid a mid-air collision, the Tribune has reported. According to the local media report, Chastney and other dignitaries, including Bahamian Prime Minister Dr. Hubert Minnis, were headed to Abaco on Friday to assess hurricane recovery and relief efforts on that island when the incident occurred. Chastney and Minnis were accompanied by Turks and Caicos Premier Charlene Cartwright Robinson, CARICOM Secretary General Ambassador Erwin LaRocque, CDEMA Caribbean Disaster Emergency Management Agency Executive Director Ronald Jackson, and other officials. According to the St. Lucia News Online, the pilot explained the drop in altitude over the aircraft's intercom was due to the Bahamas Air aircraft having to avoid another aircraft that refused to respond. We were all very fortunate that nothing more serious happened, the report quoted Prime Minister Hubert Minnis as saying. And the Antigua and Barbuda government says it is now in a better position than before after the Eastern Caribbean Central Bank ECCB announced last weekend that it had approved the application for the transfer of the assets and liabilities of the Bank of Nova Scotia BNS to the Trinidad-based Republic Financial Holding Limited RFHL. Last November, RFHL announced that it was seeking to acquire Scotiabank operations in Guyana, St. Martin, Anguilla, Antigua and Barbuda, Dominica, Grenada, St. Kitts and Nevis, St. Lucia, and St. Vincent and the Grenadines. The RFHL statement said that the purchase price is US $123 million. Antigua and Barbuda and Guyana had initially expressed reservations about the proposed acquisition, with St. John's indicating that it would not be issuing a vesting order to facilitate the move. The ECCB said that regarding the future of Scotiabank's operations in Antigua and Barbuda, the ECCB says discussions are ongoing. According to nationnews.com, the Prime Minister Gaston Brown, commenting on the ECCB's decision, said in the first instance, the only leverage that we would have been not issuing, and they actually did not issue the vesting order. A vesting order is a court order that passes legal title in lieu of a legal conveyance or transfer. And that's it for our regional news segment. Stay with us for news around the world. Welcome back, and now on to the international news. Robert Mugabe's family says they are shocked at not having been consulted by the government about arrangements for the funeral of the former Zimbabwean president. Mr. Mugabe, who was 95, died last week while undergoing medical treatment in a Singapore hospital. His body is being prepared to lie in state at a football stadium in Zimbabwe's capital, Harare. His family and the government disagree over Mr. Mugabe's final resting place. Mr. Mugabe's family says his body will be displayed in his home village of Kutama on Sunday night and will be buried at a private ceremony. President Emmerson Mnangagwa had declared Mr. Mugabe a national hero after his death, indicating he should be buried at the National Monument. More in this BBC report.
Statement, the Mugabe family spoke of its shock and concern at the behaviour of the Zimbabwean authorities. The family said the government, which includes many of the same people who forced President Mugabe out of power 2 years ago, were now trying to coerce them into ignoring his own funeral plans. A key sticking point seems to be where Mr. Mugabe's body will be buried, at a cemetery for state heroes in the capital or at his rural home. But the Mugabe family also said it was crucial that his widow, Grace, be allowed to accompany his casket at all times before the burial.
UK's Prime Minister Boris Johnson has denied lying to the Queen over the advice he gave her over the 5-week suspension of Parliament. The Prime Minister was speaking after Scotland's highest civil court ruled on Wednesday the shutdown was unlawful. When asked if he had lied to the monarch about his reasons for the suspension, he said absolutely not. He added, the High Court in England plainly agrees with us, but the Supreme Court will have to decide. More from the BBC's Rob Watson.
Mr Johnson's original argument for why Parliament was suspended was, don't worry, it's got nothing to do with avoiding scrutiny of the Brexit process, getting pesky politicians out the way. It's all to do with preparing for a new Parliament and a new programme of governance. And the Scottish court, Scotland's highest court, yesterday found that based on the evidence they had seen that just wasn't true, and that he clearly was trying to stymie Parliament from doing its proper job, and that therefore the advice he had given to the Queen was unlawful.
US President Donald Trump has announced that his administration will ban flavored e-cigarettes after a spate of vaping-related deaths. Mr. Trump told reporters vaping was a new problem, especially for children. U.S. Health Secretary Alex Azar said the Food and Drug Administration, FDA, would finalize a plan to take all non-tobacco flavors off the market. There have been 6 deaths and 450 reported cases of lung illness tied to vaping across 33 states. Many of the 450 reported cases are young people with an average age of 19. Michigan this month became the first U.S. state to ban flavored e-cigarettes. U.S. First Lady Melania Trump this week tweeted that she was deeply concerned about the growing epidemic of e-cigarette use in our children. Mr. Trump told reporters his administration would implement strong rules to protect innocent children, including his 13-year-old son, Baron. And the popular singer in northern Nigeria has been arrested. He was taken away by officers from his home in Kano City on Wednesday evening. Naziru Ahmad is the latest performer to be detained by the authorities in what seems to be a crackdown on artists who are seen as critical of the state administration. Here's more in this BBC report.
The popular Hausa musician Naziru Ahmad was taken away by the police from his house in the city of Kano on Wednesday evening. The police spokesperson in Kano State, Abdullahi Haruna, confirmed the arrest to the BBC without giving details of the allegations or charges. But the arrest is seen by many as part of an ongoing crackdown on perceived anti-government musicians and filmmakers, which is causing a lot of anxiety in the politically influential entertainment industry in northern Nigeria. Some musicians say it is a threat to freedom of speech.
And that brings us to the end of our news segment. The latest in sports is next.
Every summer has a story. Create yours when you pick your summer loan from TDC Financial Services. Pick up to $25,000 unsecured. Pick your rate, pick your due date, pick your prices. Whether it be TDC gift cards, OTI vouchers, or back-to-school vouchers, and more. Pick what you spent $25,000 on and create your summer story when you pick your summer loan from TDC Financial Services, where money is made easy.
Welcome back and now on to the sports. In CPL cricket, having chased the Hero Caribbean Premier League CPL record of 242 for 6 on Tuesday night, St. Kitts and Nevis Patriots were beaten by the Barbados Tridents on Wednesday evening. The summary scores were as follows: Barbados Tridents 186 for 2, Bouchard 62 not out, Charles 52, Dumini 42 not out, Usama 1 for 30 beat St. Kitts and Nevis Patriots 168 for 9, Evans 64, Drakes 34 not out, Lamichain 3 for 22, Holder 2 for 31, Walsh 2 for 33 by 18 runs. The upcoming matches are this evening at 7 o'clock, the Jamaica Talawas versus St. Lucia Zouks at Sabina Park in Kingston, Jamaica, and on Friday, September 13th, the Jamaica Talawas versus Trinbago Knight Riders at 8 p.m. at Sabina Park. Still in cricket, the Leeward Islands Cricket Board LICB has appointed Mr. Stuart Williams as head coach of the Leeward Islands LI Hurricanes franchise team. The appointment takes effect on October 1st, 2019 and will end on July 31st, 2021. Mr. Williams brings to the post vast coaching experience which began here on Nevis over 12 years ago with national under-15, under-17 and under-19 teams. In athletics, American sprinter Christian Coleman has defended himself and said he has never failed a drug test and never will. Coleman, 23, had been charged with missing 3 drug tests and was facing an automatic 1-year ban. However, the U.S. anti-doping agency USADA withdrew the charge earlier this month after receiving guidance from the World Anti-Doping Agency WADA. I put my heart and soul into track and field and worked hard to get where I am today, Coleman wrote on Instagram. Coleman, who ran at world-leading time of 9.81 seconds in the 100-meter event at the Diamond League in California in June, is free to compete at the World Athletics Championships beginning in Doha on Friday, September 27th and the 2020 Olympics in Tokyo. USADA had claimed Coleman had missed drugs tests on June 6, 2018, as well as January 16th and April 26th of this year, with 3 missed tests in a 12-month period leading to a ban. However, as the International Standard for Testing and Investigations ISTI states, a filing failure relates back to the first day of the quarter, Coleman argued the first of those dates should be April 1st, 2018. In basketball, The United States suffered a shock 89-79 loss to France in the quarterfinals of the Basketball World Cup in China on Wednesday. The U.S. had won the past 2 World Cups and not lost in 58 international games, a run stretching back to 2006. France were 51-41 ahead in the third quarter before the United States moved into a 72-65 lead, but the French fought back to take the victory. Evan Fournier scored 22 points, while Rudy Gobert finished with 21. France will play Argentina in the semi-finals on Friday, with Spain taking on either Australia or the Czech Republic in the other match. This will be the first time the United States have failed to win a medal at the World Cup since 2002, when they finished 6th. As well as winning the past 2 World Cups, they have also won the past 3 Olympic titles. And lastly, in our national news segment, in football, lastly in our sports segment in football, Cristiano Ronaldo scored 4 goals as Portugal beat Lithuania in Euro 2020 qualifying. The Juventus forward has now scored 93 international goals, 16 behind Iran legend Ali Day's world record. Ronaldo's 20-yard shot went in off the head as Lithuania goalkeeper Ernestas Setkas, and he scored 2 more from Bernardo Silva before William Carvalho's injury time 5th. The result keeps Portugal in an automatic qualifying place, 5 points ahead Group B leaders Ukraine. It was an 8th international hat-trick for 34-year-old Ronaldo, who also scored 4 against Andorra in 2016. The scores were Lithuania 1, Portugal 5. Still in sports, the IAAF Doping Review Board has agreed that the applications of 11 Russian athletes have met the exceptional eligibility criteria to compete in international competition as neutral athletes in 2019 under Competition Rule 22.1AB, while the Russian National Federation RUSAF remains suspended. The application process for athletes seeking neutral status in international competitions in 2019 opened in December 2018. A total of 128 Russian athletes have so far been declared eligible to compete as authorized neutral athletes in 2019. 58 applications have so far been rejected, and 1 neutral athlete status has been revoked. And that's it for sports. The weather is next. Welcome back. Tonight's weather will continue to be partly cloudy with a 50% or a moderate chance of brief overnight showers. The weather tomorrow will be partly sunny with a 40% or a moderate chance of brief passing showers. The winds are east at 6 to 12 knots or 11 to 22 kilometers per hour, becoming lighter and variable overnight. The seas are 1 to 1.5 meters or 3 to 5 feet. The sunrise tomorrow will be at 5:58 a.m. And that's how we wrap up the major news package for today, Thursday, 12th September 2019. Before we go, let's take a look at the headlines once again. Nationally, Scotiabank sale approved by the ECCB, Republic Financial Holdings will acquire assets of Scotiabank in St. Kitts and Nevis and other Eastern Caribbean islands, and Nevlec's new general manager says performance may have deteriorated and outlines objective for company. Regionally, Hurricane Dorian triggers massive insurance payout for the Bahamas. Internationally, Robert Mugabe's family rejects government's funeral plans, and in sports, Barbados Tridents beat SKN Patriots by 18 runs in CPL tournament. On behalf of the rest of the news team, I am Jarvis Bond wishing you a pleasant evening.